This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. And another yes for us to realize that it does not matter who the host is. Anyways, today is Thursday, June the 10th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, infiltration and Radio Big is always the things that we seem to start talking about almost immediately when we get into here and start talking about everything that's going on. So there you go. Okay. So let's talk about it. Our show is not as complicated as it sounds. All you have to do is take a listen to what the hell's going on. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. We do bring in some professional broadcasters to interact with you. That way we have a good idea of what the hell's happening. We talk a little bit about this. We talk a little bit about that. The professional broadcasters come in and they talk about everything that they want to talk about. And we make sure that, the audience is listening, quote unquote. That way we have some good interactions there. Now, if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of the things that you get to do when you're there. And then I'll get a little prompt on the screen letting me know what exactly is going on. So it's kind of a simple thing. No harm there in regards to what the hell is going on. So how have you been? Because it's always an important way to start off in regards to what we're doing. Because listen, without you, there is no show. And I guess without me turning on the board over here, I guess there's no show on this side. But yeah, that's the whole point of the interaction. Now, remember, this show originally started off as a rant show. People complaining about what the hell was going on inside of the industry. And what we normally try to do now is we try to alter it a little bit. And let me explain what I mean when I say that. We give you some news stories. We give you some information about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. And then, then we come back and we do a little bit of everything. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then we kind of do the Party Central thing. What is the reasoning behind this? Is because we want to make sure that you have stories of what's going on opposed to you just start talking about safety the moment you see people. Yes, this would not be something to do if you're trying to do an elevator pitch. I got you. But something to think about as we are doing it.
Duh.
Because that's the whole point here, You want to have information that's accurate about what the hell is going on inside of the world. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we bring in our friends from Feature Story News and let them start talking, or let's say jibber jabbering, as some people like to say, about what the hell is going on with the news story. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Brussels, I'm William Denslow. The US military says it's completed a second round of strikes against Iranian military targets near the Strait of Hormuz. US President Donald Trump told Fox News he was close to ordering attacks on Iranian power plants and bridges, and warned strikes could resume on Friday if no deal is reached. The strikes came even as a Qatari delegation was in Tehran pursuing diplomatic efforts to end the conflict. Simon Marks, Washington correspondent, says the scale of the latest military action sits uneasily with the White House's message to Congress.
49 separate Tomahawk missile strikes. That's a very, very significant piece of military action to be taking when you're simultaneously saying to Congress the war's over and hostilities haven't really occurred since April the 7th when the ceasefire initially came into force.
India's summoned the top US diplomat to lodge a protest against military attacks on a commercial ship in the Gulf of Oman that was carrying 24 Indian seafarers. 21 of them have been rescued, but officials say 3 are still missing. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
In a statement, India's Ministry of External Affairs said incidents of attack on shipping in the region are deeply worrisome and a direct result of the ongoing conflict in the region, and added that New Delhi is calling for immediate de-escalation of tensions. It's the first instance of New Delhi issuing a démarche or an official protest to an American diplomat since the Trump administration came to power last year. New Delhi says its embassy in Oman is involved as the search for 3 missing Indian crew members continues. Several Indian vessels and Indian seafarers on foreign vessels remain stranded west of the Strait of Hormuz, with safety increasingly a concern as the situation in the region deteriorates. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup kicks off in Mexico City Thursday, with co-hosts Mexico facing South Africa at the Estadio Azteca. The tournament already facing controversy. A Somali match official was denied entry to the US at Miami International Airport on Monday. Tony Waterman reports from Mexico City.
This Somali referee, Omar Atan, he had shown up at the Miami International Airport on Monday where he was denied entry despite having a diplomatic passport and a single entry visa to the United States. The BBC has been reporting that US officials believe that he had associations with people suspected of having ties to terrorist organizations, but he is from Somalia, and that is one of the countries that is on President Trump's travel ban.
And according to the Financial Times, China's cancelled several high-level meetings with the European Union. It comes as the bloc is exploring ways to tackle what it sees as unfair trade practices conducted by Beijing. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the risks of escalation in the conflict between the US and Iran. President Trump's decision to launch retaliatory airstrikes after accusing the Iranians of bringing down a US Apache attack helicopter came hours after he said the chopper's loss wasn't a big deal. But his reprisals were, targeting Iranian air defense systems, Iranian ground control stations and surveillance sites near the Strait of Hormuz. Jamil Jaffer is the founder of the National Security Institute at George Mason University in Washington.
Obviously, the Iranians shot at an American manned helicopter, took down 2 of the people flying that helicopter. Thankfully, they weren't killed. They were rescued. But the real problem is they're shooting at manned vehicles, and we're only getting involved in proportionate and something of a disciplined response. The challenge here, I think, is it's not clear that will knock the Iranians off the effort to continue to go after American targets, allied targets and the like. We haven't done that yet. They've gone after the Israelis, they've gone after the Emiratis, they've gone after the Kuwaitis, and they're going after us now. I think if the president really wants to send a message to Iran, he'd be hitting them a lot harder, a lot more aggressively, making it a lot clearer that we're not going to take it. The problem, of course, is, as you well know, the president doesn't appear to want to continue this war, and he doesn't want to get into a bigger fight. That's the real challenge we have here.
The US says Tuesday's military strikes won't impact peace talks. Iran called them a violation of its sovereignty.
The main news again. The United States military says it's completed a second round of strikes against Iranian military targets near the Strait of Hormuz. The strikes came even as a Qatari delegation was in Tehran pursuing diplomatic efforts to end the conflict. India summoned the top US diplomat to lodge a protest against military attacks on a commercial ship in the Gulf of Oman. And the World Cup kicks off in Mexico City later, with co-host Mexico facing South Africa. And that's the latest feature story news. William Denslow reporting.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Definitely sounds like some risky business to me if you are paying attention to what the hell's going on. That is for sure. So there you go. Oh, what'd they say? I was supposed to do this. Okay, sorry.
Great music, zero assembly required. And that's how we roll.
Great music. Yeah, depending on what a portion of the show you catch with it, that's for sure. No doubt about that one as we are talking. So let's get into some information on some things that are going on inside of the multiverse of ours, because that just seems like one of the weird ones to start talking about. So a lot of people are already talking about this, at least was what I'm seeing first thing this morning. So if you're a basketball fan, maybe it was a good time last night, or it could definitely be a bad time, depending. But in last night's Spurs-Knicks game, the Knicks won. They scored a 1.2 second left, or 1.2 seconds left of the game to lead 107 to 106. The Knicks ended up winning 107 to 106, and the Knicks lead the series 3-1 with Game 5 on Friday. Take a listen to this.
Allow him to operate at the top, 1-on-1. Brunson gets it, fires up a three. Shot no good. The tip, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. With 1.2 remaining, Knicks take the lead. OG Anunoby, and it's 107-106.
Okay, so a lot of people sounding emotional this morning about this. Take a listen to this one.
Thank you, Mike. OG, take us through the game-winning play, the inbounds and the tip-in.
Got the ball to Jalen. He got a good look, and I just crashed and went for the ball.
You make it sound so easy, but tell me what's going through your mind as it's all unfolding.
Oh, just do whatever it takes to win, you know? I mean, our thing is crashing. I think it's crashing the glass, and second chance opportunities, I just try to make a play.
OG, how did this happen? You guys were down 29. How did this happen?
We're resilient, you know? We never give up, you know? It's a game of runs. They went on a run early. We knew we were going to go on our own run, so we just stayed with it, kept pushing.
29 points, though. When you're down 29, what were you guys saying to each other?
Just stay with it, you know? It's a game of runs. We believe in ourselves. We've come back before. We're battle-tested. We're mentally, we're tough. We're a resilient group, so we just stay with it.
Something tells me that the sports analogies will be going out the wazoo today. No doubt about that, as they are going. So congratulations to the New York Knicks, if that is something that's important to you. I mean, I'm just saying, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just not a sports person. I mean, I guess I was at some point. It is what it is. I mean, I'm glad that people enjoy it and find tribalism in regards to some of that stuff. That is good for them. I mean, but it's kind of weird when people sit around and go, we, us, and all this other stuff when the team was playing. I mean, when you become part of the payroll, I understand if you start saying that stuff. It makes sense to me then. Or if you kind of signed a club agreement. But we'll leave it at that. Anyways, let's talk about some
important information.
Let's talk about some news stories that are going on. President Trump has signed a Secure America Act, a $70 billion with a B funding package that would fully fund the Department of Homeland Security's Immigration Enforcement Agency, including ICE and Border Patrol through 2028. The legislation cleared the Senate last week and passed the House this week, allowing the president to sign it into law. Trump said that the measure ensures immigration enforcement agencies will have the resources they need for the remainder of his term. So what do you think here? I'm just asking, is this good, bad, or indifferent? I don't know. I would like to see some of these bills in regards of the amount of pages that you have to go through, because I just have a hard time believing that people really read the whole thing. It's like the terms and service agreements that we agree on when we're putting on like new computer software. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other stuff. Police in Toledo, Ohio, had identified 20-year-old Kanye Taylor as a suspect in a mass shooting that wounded 12 people during the Old West End Festival on Saturday. Authorities say that Taylor is wanted on 11 counts of felony assault and is being sought by the police. Investigators are also looking for a second suspect shooter that have released a photo in hopes that the public can help identify. According to the police, the violence began after the dispute between two rival groups. Victims range from ages of 14 to 61, and the most of their in their early 20s were the ones that were wounded. Officials believe that some people have been targeted, but say that the majority of those injured were innocent bystanders caught in the gunfire. All 12 victims are expected to survive. Police say that the Crime Stoppers are offering a total of $15,000 for information leading to their arrest case. So there you go. What do you think? So let's talk about these two, because this I got two different ones, kind of different sourcing too, that I would like to discuss with you, if I may. Basketball analyst Charles Barkley says that he isn't worried about getting in trouble by ESPN after making a joke about Cardi B during the NBA Finals. While the network showed the clip of Cardi B's performing at the halftime of Game 3, Barkley joked that the name should be Cardi D instead of Cardi B, promoting the laughter from the studio crew, including Shaquille O'Neal. Appearing later on the Dan Patrick Show, Barkley doubled down, nice choice of words, saying that he actually welcomed being fired because ESPN would still owe him the remaining 6 or 7 years of his contract. So there you go. Take a listen to this.
Does anybody say anything to you? When's the last time management or somebody said, Chuck, can't say that?
Dan, I'm hoping they fire me. I got 6 years. I got 6 or 7 years left on my contract that they know I got no chance of doing. I would love for them to fire me and have to pay me for the next 6 or 7 years. So I was talking to my agent. I was like, what can I do to get fired? But they have to pay me for the whole 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And I says, I would love to get fired. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, but because like I say, there's zero chance I'm going to be working the next 6, 7 years. Zero. So I know if they fire me, they would have to pay me all those years. And I heard through the grapevine that I make great money. So thank goodness for that.
He heard from the grapevine that he makes great money. I think you would know by cashing the checks in, one would assume. Anyways, the round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley, one of my favorites, that's for sure. When I used to watch basketball when I was much, much younger, I used to love that guy. Okay, so let's continue talking. So take a listen to this. Some of the oddest things happen sometime, and I just wonder why people think that this is okay. A passenger is facing charges after allegedly slapping a Delta flight attendant on the buttocks during a flight. Authorities say the incident occurred while the crew members was performing the duties on board. The man was reportedly taken into custody and now faces legal consequences for the alleged unwanted contact. The case serves as another reminder that airline crews are there to ensure passenger safety, not to deal with inappropriate behavior at 30,000 feet. If convicted, the passenger could find that what a moment of bad judgment comes into a very expensive landing. Apparently, he misunderstood what the airlines means by touching down. That's for sure. So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff real quick. So I'm going to talk about this, and not that I'm a fan. I think we've kind of made those sports analogies more than once today in regards to talking about this. But let's talk about this real quick because this is going to be important to some people. The FIFA World Cup kicks off today and runs through July the 19th. Yeah, and today is the 11th of June, and I did say July the 19th, featuring an expanded field of 48 national teams competing across North America. For the first time, the tournament in its history, 3 countries, United States, Mexico, and Canada, are serving as co-hosts. Opening ceremonies are held in Mexico City, Los Angeles, and Toronto, with the first celebration taking place in Mexico City Stadium. The venue is making history as the first stadium to ever host the World Cup matches in 3 different tournaments, having previously welcomed games in the 1970 and 1986. The opening ceremony features star-studded lineup performing including Shakira, J Balvin, Maná, Belinda, Alejandro Fernandez, Los Angeles Azules, Lila Downs, Danny Ocean, South African star Tyla, and Nigerian singer Burna Boy. Organizers also incorporating traditional Mexican culture through elaborate papel picado displays honoring the World Cup trophies. The ceremony begins 90 minutes before Mexico faces South Africa in the tournament opening match. U.S. viewers can watch on Fox or Telemundo, with streaming available through Peacock, Fox Sports, YouTube TV, and Fubo. So there you go. That's a lot of TV, a lot of games to watch. So June the 11th through July 19th, holy monkeys. It definitely sounds like a lot of stuff as you get the opportunity to hang out, that is for sure. So what an interesting time. So is this something that you're going to be into, or you got something else going on? I'm just asking because I just want to have a better understanding. Would like to gather exactly what is going on. So there you go. There you go. Okay. So let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of the world, because that's just kind of what we do around here. That is for sure. So take a listen to this one. Should I give you the odd stories? Because I think that they're always interesting. A 7-year-old boy, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is officially a Guinness World Record in Guinness World Record books after wearing 50 sweaters at the same time. Skylar Roselle Whitaker completed the feat during his first visit, or sorry, not his first visit, his visit to Monroe Public Library on June the 1st. Guinness officials reviewed the evidence that confirmed that his total of 50 sweaters broke the previous record of 46. The good news is the sweaters won't go to waste. The library says that all of the sweaters will be donated during this annual sweater drive this fall. 50 sweaters, that's not a wardrobe, that's a housing development. By sweater 40, he's basically walking ottoman. I mean, I can't imagine that you're moving much. His Fitbit thought that he had climbed the mountain putting on so many of them. And the kid looked like a Russian nesting doll sponsored by JCPenney's. I mean, what an interesting time. So if you were going to enter the Guinness World Record book, is that really the one that you want to be known for? I'm just asking, because it definitely sounds like an interesting one. So you decided to see how many sweaters you could put on. Out of all things on the planet to do, this was the option. I guess it's an interesting one. But he's also 7, or the kid's 7. So he can't complain too much, I guess. Let's continue talking. Okay, a horse in New York is expected to make a full recovery after a complicated rescue operation when it became trapped inside of a trailer. The Rye-Neck Fire Department said that the crew responded on Tuesday to help New York State police officers after a horse jumped over the chest bar inside of a trailer and became wedged inside of the divider system and the tack of the trunk. Firefighters teamed up with veterinarians from Ryebeck, Queen, and used specialized rescue equipment to carefully lift the animal while removing part of the divider system. After being freed, the horse was transported to Buttonwood Farm for overnight monitoring. Officials say that the horse is recovering well and that it is expected to make a full recovery from the ordeal. I mean, what an ordeal. So you tried to jump the divider inside of the thing. That will definitely do some things for you. Okay, so let's continue talking. A California cyclist ended up in the hospital after an extremely unusual crash involving a bear. Don Terrace, 67, was riding downhill on Pine Crescent Lake at about 25 miles per hour when he rounded the curve and suddenly came face to face with a black bear estimated to weigh between 200 and 250 pounds. With only a few feet to react, Terrace slammed directly into the animal. The impact knocked him unconscious for a short time. While startled, the bear ran off into the woods. Don suffered 3 cracked ribs, a separated shoulder, and severe road rash. Fortunately, a U.S. Forest Service fire engine happened to be passing by and helped get medical assistance to the scene. Wildlife officials say that they've never encountered a reported incident quite like this before. Describing bad timing by all parties, the bear apparently escaped without serious injury, which is good. The cyclist was expecting a bike lane, not a bear lane, so there you go. And that's one way to find out who has the right of way. Bear Insurance Company immediately denied the claim, but the bear later described the incident as a hit and run by the bicyclist. That's something to think about. I mean, what are the odds there of that happening in real time like that? So there you go. So take a listen to this, because I just think that things get so strange sometimes. A 22-year-old Wisconsin man is facing multiple felony charges after prosecutors say that he lured a woman into his car under the guise of giving her a gift, that allegedly pulled a gun, threatened her with a knife, handcuffed her, and attempted to take her to a lake house after she had previously rejected a romantic relationship. According to investigators, the woman had gone on a few dates with the suspect, but made it clear that she only wanted friendship. Authorities say that he became increasingly upset over the rejection. During the alleged kidnapping, he reportedly accused her of seeing other people, threatened her, and made disturbing comments suggesting there was no turning back. The woman was eventually able to contact 911 and deputies rescued her during a traffic stop. Investigators say they found a troubling collection of items inside of the vehicle, including duct tape, restraints, handcuffs, a shovel, tarp, condoms, lubricants, and other items prosecutors believe were connected to the alleged plan. The suspect is being held on $2 million bail after prosecutors said that he allegedly told fellow inmate that he wanted to further harm the victim if released. His attorneys has denied the allegations and remain innocent until proven guilty. That's kind of an interesting one. So that's not a dating profile. That sounds like an episode of Criminal Minds, if you kind of think about it for a moment. She said, let's just be friends. He heard, let's get arrested, is what it sounds like. And most people cope with rejection by eating ice cream, by not collecting kidnapping supplies. And nothing says, I'm over it quite like a $2 million bail. His relationship status is not, it's complicated with the justice system, is really what it should read out as. And when your first date kit includes duct tape and a shovel, you're already losing points. And Match.com didn't mean find someone and never let them leave. He returned a friend request into a police report is definitely what it sounds like. I mean, what a crazy time there, if you really think about it. Now, take a listen to this one. I got another one for you, if you don't mind, before we get into our main story. And this one is coming out of
Florida.
Yeah, WTF. Welcome to Florida. A Florida woman is facing a long list of charges after allegedly attacking an Uber driver and stealing his vehicle outside of Miami Springs Hotel. Police say the 49-year-old Natasha Bagley became enraged after being dropped off at a sleep-in on June the 2nd. Surveillance video reported shows that her getting out of the rideshare vehicle, yelling at the driver, kicking the car door, and ripping off the weather seal and throwing onto the pavement. Let's see. When the driver tried to retrieve the piece, Natasha allegedly shoved him and then slipped into the driver's seat. The two reportedly struggled over the vehicle, with Natasha allegedly damaging parts of the steering column, removing control levers, and slamming the door that the driver's arm before the driver got away in the car. She was arrested the following day. When she returned to the hotel. Authorities say that the vehicle suffered about $1,000 worth of damages. Police also noted that Natasha has a criminal history, including previous convictions of stemming into a dispute at a Burger King over French fries. She now faces charges including carjacking, grand theft, and aggravated assault, battery, and criminal mischief. She ordered an Uber and apparently thought that the rideshare part meant sharing ownership, is what it sounds like. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time for us to do that thing that we do that we call our main story. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it. So maybe we should go ahead and do that. Well, maybe right now. What do you think?
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yep. Nothing like main story time when we start talking, that is for sure. Nothing else that we'd rather be doing real quick. So, all right, let's go here for a moment. We've spent the first half of an hour of the show so far talking about absolute insanity of the multiverse in the news and the weird things happening out there in the world. And I appreciate you hanging on with me for just a few moments as we talk about all that stuff, because I always think it's important. But now we have to get into the middle of the show, and we need to shift gears. And it's time to do the main story. And let's talk about today's main story, and for this one, I need just to stop what you are doing just for a second and really listen to this, because I have this very weird thing that I like to talk about. And it's very serious, and it's very uncomfortable conversation about identity, ego, and the absolute nightmare of the alphabet soup of the modern compliance industry. Not a joke as I say this. This is serious. And I want you to think about the last time you jumped on LinkedIn, or the last time you got an email from someone in a corporate suit, maybe a new safety director or one of those high-priced consultants who just walked onto your site. You scroll to the bottom of the email and you look at their signature, and it looks like a cat literally just walked across the keyboard. In their name followed by a comma. And then the endless parade of acronyms: PhD, CSP, SMS, CHST, C-S, whatever. It is just letters on top of letters on top of letters. And some of these folks have email signatures that are longer than their actual message that they're sending you. And I sit back and I look at this and I have to ask the very direct question: what are we actually doing here? What is the purpose behind all this shit? Because that's really what it boils down to. I never understand it. I will tell you what the purpose is, but to understand it, we have to look at the credentialing machine. The compliance industry has figured out a way to monetize your insecurity. They have built an entire business model, and I'm going to say a massive, lucrative machine around selling you certainty in the form of a certificate. They have convinced the entire generation of professionals that passing a multiple choice test in a sterile, climate-controlled testing center somehow gives you street cred.
Street cred.
On a chaotic, dynamic, highly dangerous job site. So let me abundantly be clear here about this, because it does not do that. We are confusing a certification with actual breathing competence. And more dangerously, we are confusing qualification with connection. When you sit in a room filled with the bubbles on on one of those Scranton sheets, you are proving that you can memorize a statistic standard. You are proving that you can conform to a dead form. But the reality of the work is that the actual environment where people are trying to survive their shift, it's not a static environment. It is alive. It breathes. It is a dynamic, unpredictable, and consistently shifting. This is what people tend to forget. Now, I want you to think about the sharp end of the stick for a moment, which we were talking about earlier in the week. And think about the folks out there that are turning the wrenches. Think about the workers that are on the line. The folks that are climbing the towers, the men and women who are driving the rigs in terrible weather conditions. When you walk onto the floor, do you honestly think 20-year veteran and an iron worker gives a single damn or shit about what your four acronyms behind your name is? Do you think those letters give you street cred with a crew who has just led 3 decades of figuring out how to keep their people alive despite of broken procedures that you handed them? Absolutely not. If you walk out to the sharp end and you lead with your credentials, you have already lost the room, because there is this weird territory thing. Respect isn't an issue by a board or of a certificate gatekeepers. Respect isn't printed on cardstock. Respect is earned through presence. Think about that for a moment, because it really does play a factor here. And presence is exactly what the alphabet soup tries to fake, because that's really what it's doing. Why do people stack these credentials? Why do they feel the desperate need to add another letter, and another letter until the title practically is unreadable? Deep down, it's a defense mechanism. We see people stack these credentials because they suffer from a massive imposter syndrome. They are terrified. They know in the back of their minds that the map that they were given in the classroom doesn't match the territory of the job site. They are terrified that if they don't have their heavy armor of a letter behind their names, some of them are going to figure out that they don't actually know what to do when things go wrong. So they buy another course. They take another exam. They pay their annual renewal fees to the credentialing machine, hoping that they finally can finally be validated. They are trying to buy street cred, but you can't buy street cred, regardless of what you do. You really can't. In physics, when you look at the mechanics of consciousness, we talk about high entropy versus low entropy. An email signature with 15 meaningless acronyms and the definition of high entropy noise. It is chaotic. It is driven by ego, fear, and desperate need to establish authority without doing the actual hard work of building trust. It's a simulation leadership. True safety, real low entropy signal, doesn't require an acronym. True expertise is quiet. It is formless like water. It doesn't need to announce itself as it enters the room. Bruce Lee talked about hacking away the unessentials, and that is what we have to do here. If a credential doesn't help you translate the corporate procedure into something that actually keeps the worker alive, it's unessential baggage. It's just ego. The people who have the real street cred in the industry don't flex their resumes. They don't walk into a pre-job brief with a list of degrees. They flex their curiosity. They are the ones who have the supreme confidence to walk onto a site, completely strip away their titles, sit down with the crew on the overturned bucket, and simply ask the question, what is the hardest part of your job right now? How is the system making it worse? You can't buy that kind of presence. You can take the 40-hour course to learn how to look at someone in the eye, shut your mouth, and actually give a damn about what they're telling you. I mean, I'm just saying, there is no course for that. There just isn't. If you have spent your career chasing letters, I am not saying that you haven't worked hard. I know those tests aren't easy, let's just be realistic, but I am telling you that the letters only get you into the door. Connection is what keeps the room alive, or at least keeps you into the room. It's time to hack away the unessentials. Strip away that alphabet soup off your hard hat. Drop the letters from your email signature for a month and see what happens. I guarantee you the world won't end. In fact, you might find that when you stop leading with your ego, people start talking to you for real. Because the moment you rely on credentials to do the leading for you, you have stopped managing reality. And you have started managing the simulation. Seriously. I'm not joking as I say that. So stop hiding behind the letters. Drop the ego. Walk to the sharp end of the stick. And just be a human being for just a moment. Just see what happens. You might be surprised. Seriously. You might be really surprised.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE. So, do you feel like you're missing?
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar?
Is it air conditioning?
Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Hey now. Okay, 46 minutes past the top of the hour, and you are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. This right here is Clan's Dystopian Supply Chain. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yep. Love it. Would love for you to go take a little screamer-eamer action of this. Yeah, thanks to the Clans for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yep, there you go. So, here you go. A lot of good times right there as we are hanging out, no doubt here. So, thanks to the Clans for allowing us to play this here. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world, because that's kind of what we do here. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, To Write Love on Our Arms. So, with that being said, because we are talking here, let's go ahead and move a little bit forward and talk about some other things that are going on, if you do not mind. I want to tell you about this little event that we have coming up. And it's taking place in good old Orlando. It's happening next month on the 13th of July. It's a Monday. We're calling it Reality Shifts because we're going to incorporate and taking a look at behavior-based safety. We're going to take a look at human and organizational performance. And then we're going to take a look at something that we're calling Signal Trilogy. Now, we're doing this a little bit different than what we do most of our events. We're going to be hanging out in a movie theater here in Orlando. And not one of those premium theaters, let's make sure. So it's not like the stadium seating or anything along like that. We'll be looking at office chairs, some desks, some tables, better saying. And we'll have Nick Weatherly there talking about behavior-based safety. We'll have Todd Conklin there talking about human and organizational performance. And then I will be there talking about Signal. Now, prior to some of the stuff that goes on, we're going to watch a documentary there. Because, of course, we're hanging out at a movie theater. Why would you not want to do that? With that being said, though, because on Monday, July the 13th, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity of hanging out in Orlando If you want to do that, of course, over the weekend. Of course, if you're already in Florida, might as well take advantage of that. So that's why we're doing it on a Monday. So would love to see you there. Would love for you to come and hang out and us take a gander together about this information. It'll be an interesting time. And it's not one of those HOP versus BBS things. It is a conversation about what is going on between the three. So there you go. To find out more information, all you have to do is scan the little QR code that's on the screen, or you can go to safetyfm.io, or you can go to safetyfm.com and go into the section that says live events. There you go. Would love to see you there. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, I do have my friend John Small waiting in the wings to tell you about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute. So let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Andy. Ray Bradbury said, "We are cups, constantly and quietly being filled. The trick is knowing how to tip ourselves over and let the beautiful stuff out." What a great quote. I think we need to let more beauty out that comes in many forms. I love the beauty of humor. When somebody is struggling with something that makes them sad, how amazing is it to be able to say something in a certain way to change their whole day by adding a little healing humor. This is also a delicate thing. The whole thing can backfire. Humor is amazing, and I feel like this is a powerful tool to get people laughing together rather than fighting with one another. In this divisive time, it can be hard to get people to agree on anything, but some things are just plain funny. To get people to come together and laugh is one of the best things ever.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A federal judge in Chicago blocked a controversial state tech law on Tuesday, citing significant constitutional concerns over corporate free speech protections.
The legal challenge was mounted by a coalition of major digital commerce companies. Legal experts predict the high-profile case will ultimately be decided by the Supreme Court. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Rescue teams in central Japan expanded their search on Wednesday after a sudden volcanic eruption showered a popular hiking trail with stones and ash.
Dozens of hikers suffered injuries from the flying debris during the unexpected morning blast. Geologists are monitoring the peak closely to determine if further evacuations will be necessary. Gary Beck reporting.
European finance ministers gathered in Brussels on Tuesday to hammer out a unified strategy for stabilizing volatile energy markets ahead of winter.
The high-stakes meeting focused on setting price caps and securing alternative supply chains. Leaders plan to release a comprehensive framework by Friday morning to reassure nervous investors. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A fast-moving wildfire in Southern California forced hundreds of residents to flee their homes on Tuesday night as high winds pushed flames into dry canyons.
Over 300 firefighters are currently battling the blaze to protect vulnerable neighborhoods. Local authorities expect containment lines to hold if the fierce winds diminish by Wednesday evening. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Heavy monsoon rains trigger devastating mudslides across northeastern India, cutting off major transport links and trapping thousands of residents in remote villages.
Emergency crews are working around the clock to clear debris and rescue stranded families. Officials warn that continued downpours could severely hamper recovery efforts over the coming days. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Major automotive manufacturers announced a historic joint venture to construct a massive network of electric vehicle charging stations across North America.
The multi-billion-dollar project aims to make long-distance travel seamless for drivers. The first wave of high-powered stations is scheduled to open along major highways next spring. Liam White reporting.
Rising retail fuel costs pushed national consumer inflation numbers to a 3-year high last month, presenting a fresh economic hurdle for federal financial regulators on Tuesday.
The unexpected spike in energy pricing has complicated ongoing efforts to lower borrowing rates later this year. Market analysts anticipate that the Federal Reserve will maintain current interest benchmarks to combat the persistent pricing pressures. Chris Anderson reporting.
The federal government unveiled a sweeping initiative on Wednesday to modernize rural internet infrastructure and bring high-speed broadband to millions of underserved Americans.
The massive funding package targets isolated communities that lack reliable digital access. Officials expect construction to begin later this year, creating thousands of local engineering jobs. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench?
Radio Big.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely getting a little stinchy around here. No doubt about that. Okay, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1901, Cook Islands annexed and proclaimed part of New Zealand. In 1920, Republicans nominate Warren G. Harding for president. In 1982, the movie E.T. is released for the highest grossing film. In 1987, Margaret Thatcher is the first British prime minister in 160 years to win third Khan's term. So there you go. And in 2002, American Idol premiered. So there you go. Seems like it's been around for much longer. Let's talk about some celebrity birthdays that are going on today. Let's see. Frank Beard turned 77. Joe Montana 70. Peter Dinklage turns 57. Joshua Jackson 48. And Shia LaBeouf turns 40 today. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Patrick Mahomes has reportedly become the first NFL player with a contract worth more than $500 million after agreeing to restructure the deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes originally signed a groundbreaking 10-year, $450 million contract back in 2020. Under the new agreement, 2 years have been added to the deal, keeping the star quarterback with Kansas City Chiefs through 2033, when he'll be 38 years of age. The revised contract is valued approximately at $504.75 million and could reach a massive $522.25 million through incentives and performance bonuses, making it the richest contract in NFL history. So there you go. In some other news, millions of Americans are being urged to take precautions as a major heat wave spreads throughout the country this week. The National Weather Service has issued heat advisories across 14 states, warning the dangerous hot conditions will develop, especially today and tomorrow. Forecasters say that the heat index, feels the temperature combined with heat humidity, could climb above 100 degrees in many areas. And the Northeast states, including New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Vermont, and parts of eastern Pennsylvania, are expected to experience especially uncomfortable conditions, with humidity making temperatures feel as high as 103 degrees. Officials are advising the people to limit time outdoors, stay hydrated, seek air-conditioned spaces when possible, and check on vulnerable family members, neighbors, and pets as the intense heat settles in across large portions of the United States. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. And let's see. One more. Do I have time for one more? I kind of do not. So there you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, you're more than welcome on doing that. Would love to see you over there. We'll be talking about the world of music and entertainment if you go over there. If you don't want to go over there and you want to hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus, which he will be right here on Safety FM, talking about the world of safety consulting. So you have some options here in regards to what to do. So those are your options, and if you want to do that. If I can't give you some words of wisdom for today, here you go. Your future self is built by the choices you make when nobody is watching. And here's some advice for today. Keep a photo of your pet on your phone in case you ever get lost. You got it? Did you get that? Okay, cool. Just double checking. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. So there you go. If you want to come over, like I said, radiobig.fm, would love to see you on the other side there. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.